Welcome back to week 2 of the Success Series. I just want to thank all of you for the really kind messages I've received, the heartfelt emails. They've just meant so much to me, and I'm passing on those messages to our guests that have let me interview them. And I really want to give thanks to them for spending the time, being open and transparent with us. I just appreciate that so much. And if you haven't subscribed, go to optimizesuccesscoaching.com and subscribe to these podcast series. It's just amazing. And we're sending out replays and we're having drawings each week. So sign up if you haven't. I am excited to introduce our speaker today, which is Bill Cosgrove. He is the president and CEO of Union Home Mortgage. Bill's positive attitude and high energy has just made him a dynamic leader for the partners of Union Home Mortgage. And he's been the leader for over 25 years. In 2015, he served as chairman for the Mortgage Bankers Association of America. And I was lucky enough to go to that. He had his inauguration in Las Vegas that year, and it was the highest attended inauguration in mortgage banking history. He's conscious about his team and can easily manage and motivate a group to achieve any goal. And let me tell you, he sets big goals every year for his group. Outside of work, family is one of the most important things to Bill. He's a loving husband to Paula, has 3 children that he's very proud of. Bill's banking career began in 1986 as a residential loan officer. He then joined Union Home Mortgage in 1994 and was named president in 4 years. In 1999, he purchased the company and became a 100% stockholder. During his time of leadership, the company has grown from $57 million to $4.2 billion in lending. Yes, I said that right. $4.2 billion in lending last year. His success has earned him numerous awards and achievements, including top 50 mortgage executives. I know his time is limited, but I appreciate him spending a few minutes with us today. Thank you for joining me today. I know time is limited, so I want to thank you. Want to get right to it. So I wanted to ask you 5 or 10 things that you could share with us that you feel have really propelled your success.
5 or 10 things. So, I think never, number one would be just trying to get better every day. Mm-hmm. I think that's, that's important to never feel that you've reached the destination and continue to keep just getting better every day, evolving, trying different things. Mm-hmm. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, we brought buttons to this event. Make today count.
There you go.
I brought 1,000 buttons for everybody because
that's cool.
We're not going to grow and do what we need to do if we're not every day isn't impactful.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it really is truly about growing every day because you evolve and I think as you get older and mature, your thought process I think becomes a little clearer about what you represent. Mm-hmm. And what you, I think just as importantly, if not more, what you won't represent.
Right.
And won't be part of. And so I think it's singular focus at that point. But I think that's a big part of it. I think, as I just said, singular focus mm-hmm. is another point on your way to success because, if you're gonna become world class at something, you really have to be singularly focused at it, mm-hmm. and not in an unhealthy way, but really know that you're committed to getting better every day.
That's tough though, to have singular focus. I feel like we're always thinking of all these things in all directions, but more like the big picture.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Yeah, life is complicated. It's as complicated as you want it to be or make it to be. Sometimes it's more complicated, right? Mm-hmm. But I think just getting better every day in learning every day and growing and that singular focus is important.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Mm-hmm. I think another aspect of success is who you let into your life, and the type of people that you allow in to your world, and just making sure that you surround yourself and be part of people that are loving and supportive, have your back, and just good human beings. I think is very important. Life is difficult. Life brings you curveballs that you don't ask for and you don't see coming. So I think you have to have solid faith, and you have to have solid friends and support system around you. Family obviously is a big part of that. The most important part of that.
Right.
But I think it's that type of foundation and environment that you create is very important.
I hear a lot of people say others believed in them before they believed in themselves.
Right.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah. I think looking back, early on, there were people in my life that believed in me more than you believe in yourself, and I think that I think it's part of growing up, where people may see things in you or attributes that you don't fully see, based on an immaturity and so forth. So I think that's common, and with some of the things we're doing today with the intern program and future leader program, we actually have the ability, to do that, to sort of reach down to, wonderfully talented younger people, and sort of tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, you have the ability to be more than you think you're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So that's a fun part of leadership at Union Home. That's a real fun part of it.
Oh, yeah. And I remember the call when you said, let's give them real jobs. Not intern jobs, but real jobs.
Right.
And then they just did circles around us.
They were fantastic.
Yeah.
Just absolutely fantastic. Blew us away on coming in cold with no mortgage experience at all, and sitting them down and doing, as you said, Cindy, real jobs, and doing a fantastic job. Right. It was eye-opening for all of us.
It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You always hear all the millennial stories, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa.
No, the millennials are fantastic.
Amazing.
They are. They are. They have a maturity in their communication, both personally. 30 years ago, I tell people, if you would have took 100 of us, then kids in a room, and say you got to make a presentation in front of 100 people, you 90 out of 100 would be passed out. We couldn't do it. Right. And these kids most of them will stand up. And if you tell them, hey, make a 7-minute presentation in front of 100 people, they don't blink an eye.
Right.
They really don't. So I think their level of maturity, in a lot of ways, is far superior. Communication skills, obviously, the technology piece is not is a given.
Right.
But their poise. I've become, over the last 5-7 years with our intern program, a huge fan of the young people in America today. I think they're just fantastic. They have a sense of community, a sense of giving back that we didn't at that point in our lives. I'm their biggest cheerleader. I'm a believer after seeing, I think, 6-7 classes of our intern program. I'm a big believer.
Oh yeah, and I think they feel, what I've noticed is that this is part of their life. So it's not a 9 to 5. If you have a quick question at 10 p.m.,
right,
they're responding. It's not like, oh, I'm off the clock. It's 5 o'clock. They are it's just part of their life.
Yeah, that's part of that plugged in world that they've grown up in.
Yeah.
And obviously there's some downsides to that. You got to be careful with that, right? But they yeah, that's the world they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's fascinating. But as I said, after 6 years of a new class, I'm sold, and I'm their biggest cheerleader. I think they're wonderful
I
as a
agree.
generation.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. What else you want to talk about?
What about mentors?
Um,
Who's your biggest mentor?
I have been so blessed in my career. If I look back, I could think of 7, 8 people from my first day, even before when I was 22 years old, and I got my real estate license and became a real estate salesman at a very young age. The owner of the real estate company that I went to, it was Century 21 Elko Suburban Realty, and the owner broker was is a fellow by the name of Guy Gentili, and you know, ugh, 35 years, 35 years later, him and I are very close, and he's close with my family and vice versa. And so throughout my career, there's been many mentors that have come into my life that have been just wonderful to me, supportive, eye-opening, tell you tell you what you need to hear. Sometimes you don't like it, but I've been very blessed in that sense. But on the other hand, I've always been open and searching. I don't have all the answers. I've never had all the answers. I'm a big fan of people and trying to find out what makes them tick, and what made them successful. And actually, I was early on. There was a point in my life that I was more successful in business than I was in life, and because of the lack of balance early on in my career. And so I tried to find people that were actually as successful in life as they were in business, because those are the people I truly admired. And, air quotes, those are the people that had it all.
Right.
Right. And so I gravitated to those folks, and they helped showed me the way to be as successful in life as you are in business. And that's been an awakening for me over the last 10, 15 years.
Something I noticed early on with you is that you pulled in people and sought advice or had your advisory board that were not in your industry, that aren't in the mortgage industry, are in different industries, to get a different perspective on everything. And I really admired that about you.
Thanks. I just thought naturally that I spent every waking moment of my life around mortgage people, and all wonderful, all very talented, and I love them. But it was always fascinating to me to become friends with and look at people that were very successful in their own right, but how did they look at our business from the outside looking in, right? Without any mortgage background whatsoever, what did they see? And I thought their perspective was so pure and honest and profound. It was great. It was great because you develop this is what is possible and not after decades in the mortgage industry. And when somebody that has no mortgage thinking lock on their brain, and they come in and they see something and say, well, what about this? And it's beautiful. So I gravitated to it, and I think it's been one of our sort of secret successes is having a lot of people that on our advisory board that some of them have absolutely no mortgage industry experience whatsoever, and they've been highly impactful. Mike Katana is one of them, right? He's a distributor that built a massive arts and craft business that sold wholesale to Walmart, right? So if you go to Walmart, you buy something that has the Walmart tag on it, it actually is something Walmart bought from him, right, to put on their shelves. And so, just his type of mentality and distributorship and consumer based, that
Right.
sort of thing was very, so all that thought process is very helpful in so, okay, how can I take that and then take it through the wash and rinse cycle of the mortgage business and use it. And that's the fun part to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
I remember him speaking, and it was
Yeah.
people first, people first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, and then it's pretty cool when you have people like him, and then years ago, Bob Oswald, who's since passed. It was a huge impact, and he was 35 years at Cintas when Cintas, the uniform company, was a family-owned business to literally a Fortune 100 company. Bob was there for the whole ride, 35 years, and when we were not even half the size we are today, Bob would look at me and said, "Bill, you're building this company just exactly the way that the farmer, Dick Farmer, built Cintas." And I said, "Bob, I don't know if you're telling me the whole truth, but I like what you're saying." Yeah, I don't know if you're really telling me the whole truth, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Feels good.
So those folks along the way really help. I think define you and your management style and what you do and how you do it.
We're here for the annual partner celebration.
Yeah.
And I know it was brought up in a Q&A earlier, but I would love you to share why that's important to you to bring all partners together at least once a year.
I just think it's if you aspire to have a world-class culture, and it's just not in talk, it's real. You feel it in your heart and in your soul. You feel it, it's real. I think every year to take a couple days away from your routine and away from your local market and bring everybody together, like-minded people, to first of all celebrate the success of each other and of the company, but also to me it's it too, and I mentioned this earlier, to me it's also a way of us saying that we're going to have an annual meeting and partner celebration where the management team is accountable to the partners, right? So we don't know next year, November 7th, we don't know exactly what the market's going to be, but next year we're going to be together, and I think you celebrate its accountability. It's a celebration of our culture, of each other, and I think it rejuvenates people. It reminds people what makes Union Home special and what part they play in it, because companies are used to having just your salespeople or your top salespeople taken and being treated well. And here we say, no matter what your position is in the company, you're just as important as I am, or Cindy as you are, and everybody is as important. So we're going to all come together, not just the salespeople. And a lot of people tell me nobody in the industry does that.
Yeah.
Nobody does it. And I don't do it because no one does it. I do it because I just feel it's who we are. It's just who we are.
Yeah.
Just who we are. So I think it's you rejuvenate yourself. It's we force people to get away, so I think they're reflective, right? Right, they're reflective.
They are, and the conversations outside of the big room too, and the growth, and then the breakouts. I just think, people really do.
Yeah. So you take 2.5 days of the year. And we invest in our culture and we invest in each other. It sends a powerful message, right? It's a powerful, powerful message that we mean what we say. We're in it to win it. You're that important to us, and we're just as important, as the customer, if not more. We're going to take 2.5 days, and invest in ourselves and each other. And I just think it's very powerful. And I just couldn't imagine having a company and not doing it. Plus, I just love to see everybody.
Yeah.
And I love to see everybody in one place.
Right.
You
And
know,
like you said, it's a family reunion.
it's a family reunion, and it's just good for the soul. It's good for the business soul. I think individually and collectively as a company, we just believe in it.
Great.
We believe in it.
One more question.
Yes.
Your favorite book? I've
Yeah.
heard you talk about a couple different
Yeah.
books, but what one would you recommend?
Oh God! If there was just one, there's so many because I'm a big fan of so many. But for me, if there's one, just one, if there's one left to read, in the world, there's one left to read. For me, it's Think and Grow Rich. It's the classic. It's one of the oldest. It's one of the classic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think to me, Think and Grow Rich is not monetary richness. It's just the desire to reach your full potential, and not stopping until you reach your full potential, believing in yourself. And if failure is not an option, if failure is totally off the table, what do you do next, right? And so I think the fundamentals of Think and Grow Rich are so powerful that any level of achievement, whether it's personal, whether it's business, no matter what it is, any level of achievement is based on the fundamentals that are taught in the book Think and Grow Rich. So for me, as a young person, it was one of the it's just one of the classics. And every couple of years, I'll go back to it and read a good bit of it. But there's been so many. I'm a big fan of them all, actually.
Me too. I love reading. In fact, Think and Grow Rich, every time I wanted to advance in my career or some kind of growth spurt, I realized I always pull that book out and then I read my old notes that I put in that book. Like I've been reading that for years. Yeah, so I love that book. So
yeah, if you go back to it and you pull out your notes from it and you reread, the powerful of that book is as you reread it, as you mature in your career, you realize the fundamental training and thought process and mind thought process that you go through anytime that you've reached a different level of success in your career. It's all really based on those fundamentals.
It is, but it reads differently every time.
It reads differently every time. Yeah. That's a sign of maturity, right? It's a sign of learning more as time goes on, and that's the beautiful thing where the fundamental is there, but it's all in the interpretation of the reader and where we are at that point in our lives.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time today. I love you. I love this company and love my career here. So I appreciate your time today.
Well, we love you too, and I'm just so proud of what you're accomplishing.
Thank you.
Not only inside of Union Home, but with your hobby outside of Union Home and helping people achieve and grow personally. Yeah. I'm a big fan of you and Andy and the whole family, and we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening today, and I know you pulled some things from this interview that you want to implement. And you need to implement. Do this for you. Everyone has ideas, but very few people implement. And even less than that, very few people finish. We love to be around the energy of people who implement and finish what they say they're going to. Subscribe if you haven't. Also, we'll be posting this on YouTube, most of the series, if you prefer to watch it on video. We'd love to have your feedback. Also, if there's something that you would like us to discuss on the podcast, email me at cindy@optimizesuccesscoaching.com. We are committed to optimizing your success.